Hi, Dave the Train Guy from the Hobby Man by Hearns. Today's unboxing is going to be something rather unusual, and I suppose probably the title's already given it away. And every time I say that, you know, it's going to be something rather interesting. Today we are going to be doing the London Manchester Railways No. 57 Lion. This is another rather significant engine, often overshadowed by the Stephenson's rocket, which Hornby did earlier on, a couple of years ago. But now they've decided to do this rather significant engine, which has had a bit of a history in its own right. And Hornby have actually done a rather nice model of it. Just a bit of a background on it first. Originally, this was to be released as the Titfield Thunderbolt, as in the 1953 movie, actually done in Technicolor. So it was a movie that was based in 1953, and it's a bit of a favourite amongst train enthusiasts, based in England in the 50s when everything's all wonderful once again. And it's about us, and this is before the Beeching Report came about, but it was about a group of a community that wanted to save their local railway against the dreaded bus. And it was a great movie, and Hornby were going to do a set of it, which consisted of the Lion, a well wagon, an old coach body, and a GWR towed brake van. But in the case of Don't Mention the War, Hornby didn't have the rights to release it because they didn't have the rights to the movie or pay the licensing fee. So it all went bad for them. But they have bounced back. The model that Hornby have done is Lion 57, but as it was in 1930. The original engine was built in 1938 and worked a pretty hard life until the late 1850s, which is rather interesting because literally on the other side of that wall there, Australia's first railway from just on the other side of that wall down to the docks of Port Melbourne in 1854, and this engine was already around that time was being withdrawn from use. So it obviously gives you a bit of an insight as to how fast railways and railway technology was progressing in the UK. Now this particular engine in real life was, like I said, was built in 1838, thereabouts, and served a pretty good, decent life as predominantly more as a goods engine, but also as a mixed traffic engine, and ended its days as a works engine on ballast trains before being converted into a stationary pump at a dock for a dry dock, pumping water in and out in a very stripped down form. And then somewhere in the late 20s, a gentleman in a local engineering society found out the history of this particular engine from builder's plates and had it restored. And then it ran around a playground in the 1930s or 1930 with some replica coaches that were built in a railway workshop. So that's a bit of a brief history. So the engine, as is presented in this kit, is in its restored format. Now for the unboxing. So yeah, so we've got this rather nice box in a book-like format. We have a bit of a history on it here, and we'll just get it out of the box. Now, one thing Hornby's got to be commended for is making an effort on Era 1. Now, Era 1 to date hasn't really been hugely popular, but it's probably because no one's actually produced anything. So this foam packaging it's nice and snug, believe me. Now the loco and tender are connected together. One interesting thing about this engine is that unlike the rocket, which came with a 6-pin decoder which fitted in its water barrel or wine barrel in the tender and was quite painful to install, probably the most painful of any engine, the Lion, as presented here, will actually take an X18 decoder. I'll just get it out. This is probably one of the smallest engines I've unboxed. So there we have it. It's actually rather nice. There's a fair amount of die cast used in it, and if you, hopefully the cameras will pick up on that. Yeah, there we go. The effect on the timber cladding is really good, And the couplings are like these fine chain link, and you've got these dumb couplings here, and it drives through the just here. And if we look at the underside, not that you should really have your trains upside down, a lot of thought has actually gone into this model. And the next 18 pin decoder will go in there, and in the tender there's actually provisions, or there's actually a factory built speaker. So your next question is, if you do go to DCC, it's just getting an appropriate sound effect for this little guy. Just to prove that it all works. Now, unfortunately, I just wish we could give you a pan shot of that. But that's actually incredibly smooth. So I believe it's a 5-pole motor, but no flywheel. But I think it's got more than enough grunt to pull a reasonably decent train. Now, one thing I do believe too is that the model presented here is how it was presented in 1930. They put a cover over the firebox, which went from copper to brass, or brass to copper, but in the model form it actually looks like it's brass. And you can just see a little coupling dangling away there. Yeah. Along with this set, you get 2 enclosed coaches, looking very much like a stagecoach almost in some respects. Fixed buffers, but these little steps here look great. There's a fair amount of added on detail. I'll just present it to the camera, and again, yeah, just look at the detail there. And there is a bit of interior detail as well. So I imagine seems to be 2 fixing screws there. You could probably put some period passengers in there. I'll just put that one back. And you also get 1 open 3rd class passenger carriage. So if anything, it represented what it was like to be a 3rd class passenger in the day, or your station in life really had to be emphasised. Other than brass door handles, there's not really a lot in there. I imagine they might have had a bench seat, but I'm guessing they probably stood. Again, the buffers aren't functional, but I don't think that's really a huge issue. That's rather nicely done. And the bag of goodies. And I haven't even looked at the bag of goodies yet. So what do we get? We get some rather nice chain link couplings. Oh, here we go. You get, I would say he's the driver because he's got a stoke hat. Looking very much period oriented. Now, I don't know whether you can pick that up. Yeah, he's definitely got a stoke hat. He looks like he's actually very much in control and doing something. And we seem to have a fireman. Doesn't seem to be wearing a waistcoat, but he looks like he's just as busy as well. So the big question I have is, it really needs to have someone out there to produce Era 1 passengers, which would just be appropriate. And the other thing that would look really good with this set too is the new Pico bulkhead rail. So at code 75, which is the lower rail height, it would really make this look magic. And like I said, Hornby are to be congratulated on doing something in Era 1. That's probably an area that's been neglected and probably needs a little bit more focus. So there we go, the Liverpool Manchester Railway number 57 line set as at the celebration in 1930. Now, on top of that, again, they do offer, and we do have in stock, the L&MR, Liverpool Manchester Railway Carriage Pack, as used in the 1930s celebration. Now, this time you get 2 third-class open wagons and 1 first-class enclosed, not wagons. I suppose they are wagons. I suppose you couldn't really call them coaches. They've got no roof. We have that, and also to set it off, flat wagons. So you're going to have a bit of a mixed train. And we'll open this one up and have a good look at that too. Oh. Getting there, getting there. Again, it's firmly packed away in some black foam. And these do look really nice. Tightly packed in. There's a bit of a spacer foam there. There we go. I'll get rid of that foam. So there's obviously some etched parts there, some etched footsteps, using the same underframe as the passenger coach and the passenger wagon. So I imagine you'd probably put maybe a buggy or a cart, maybe some barrels. Again, nicely detailed, and you also get, deep in here somewhere, another set of couplings, screw link couplings or chain couplings. And last but not least, we also have the third class open carriage set. Again, this is just a triple or a duplication of the third class open wagon. So there we go. Again, you could run this with the Rocket or the Lion, same railway company. And that would look into, well, you could make a rather interesting consist there, and that would be completely in period. So like I said, you could make a really nice, lovely Era 1 layout. But anyway, in closing, these are all available either at the Hobby Man or at the Hearns. You can either buy them in store or visit us online and buy them online. Postage within Australia is free. And until next time, happy modelling.